was called a cat of 9 tails. It was a whip that had 9 leather strands to it of leather, and in those leather strands were embedded pieces of bone and stone and metal, all with the intent to inflict as much pain and injury and destruction as possible. Good morning, everybody. So glad to be with you again, and I hope again that you are doing well today. I was recently struck again by the words of a verse from Psalm 129. And the verse says this: "The plowers plowed upon my back. They made long their furrows." Plowed, that's quite a word, isn't it? When a plow goes across the ground, it doesn't just scratch the surface like our fingernails might scratch our backs. Oh no, it digs deep. It digs deep. And the Lord Jesus, this was spoken prophetically about what would transpire with him before the cross, that his back was plowed, and we'll talk about that more right now. We can't imagine what he went through just with that. But we read these strange words. "So Pilate, wishing to satisfy the crowd, released Barabbas to them, and having scourged Jesus, he delivered him to be crucified. Pilate had said before this, 'I find no fault in him,' yet he had him scourged." And then, reading a similar portion in the book of John, here's the way John put it: "Then Pilate took Jesus and flogged him." Now, flogging, scourging, whipping, beating, they're all the same thing, but we know from history what instrument was used to do that. It was called a cat of 9 tails. It was a whip that had 9 leather strands to it of leather, and in those leather strands were embedded pieces of bone and stone and metal, all with the intent to inflict as much pain and injury and destruction as possible. And the Lord Jesus endured that. We don't know how many times it was. Oftentimes it was 39 times. We don't know, we weren't told how often they struck Jesus with that, but it was destructive. And before that even happened, he was, by the soldiers, beaten about the face and head. He had the crown of thorns, big, stiff, hard, long thorns, driven into his scalp by a reed that he was struck on the head with. And he was beaten so badly that we read these words from Isaiah, words that actually astonish us. "As many were astonished at you," speaking of Jesus. And then it says, "His appearance was so marred beyond human resemblance, and his form," I guess that would be his body, "beyond that of the children of mankind." All this was done, dear ones, by mankind, whom Jesus had even created. His own creation did that to him. And I can't say I wouldn't have been right in on the crowd when I was there. My heart was evil, and yours was too, before you came to Christ. But nonetheless, we're told in Hebrews to consider him who endured from sinners like us such hostility against himself. And the Lord Jesus endured that for you and for me. That was what he suffered from the hands of his creation. And let's not forget the nails that were driven into his wrists and into his feet. Oh my. His back was ripped open. He had to carry his cross for a ways. And then on the cross itself, he had his back against that, pushing up with his feet, scraping. Oh, we can't imagine. He was plowed deeply on his back and suffered so much. I'm going to ask that we ponder that deeply this week. And if that doesn't draw forth from your heart some sense, some response of gratitude and thanksgiving and awe and wonder that he would do that for you and for me. And that's not the end of the story, but Lord willing, we'll talk about that next time. But thank you today for tuning in again. And I pray that if there's been something here that touched your heart, feel free, please, to share it with someone else. And we so appreciate your doing that. So again, until we meet again, the Lord willing, we'll see you down the line. So long.